Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
Friday, and all of today's guests, including Farhan Lalji, standing by Grey Cup headquarters, brought to you by the Bayside Oceanfront Resort. Get ready for winter with an unbeatable stay at the Bayside Oceanfront Resort this season. They're offering 25% off their best available rate all winter long on weekday stays with a minimum 2-night booking. Whether it's a cozy coastal getaway or a serene retreat, don't miss this exclusive offer. Call them directly, 250-248-8333, or visit us at BaysideResortParksville.com to book your event today as we head down to the Convention Center, Vancouver Convention Center, Grey Cup headquarters. And Farhan Lalji, his phone is better than it was yesterday when he couldn't join us. Standing by, how are you, sir?
I'm good. Why aren't you guys here? Like, I know where your studio is. You could literally walk here.
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe I'll come down and visit you after the show is over. We don't have the budget that you have. Right? So there's that.
Yeah.
All right?
Yep.
You get the nice brick in the background, the Angus Reid shot.
Yeah.
Richard Maduro over your left shoulder. You can't give that. I get it.
Very good. Hey, and by the way, you're joining us. Look at Matt Baker in the background.
Yeah, Baker.
Yeah, you know what? It's just a matter of time before
bombing the shot. Yeah.
Why doesn't get it over with? Let's see Moj in the background. Where is he?
No,
Where is
you don't want to see Moj. That's not good for ratings.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's
By the way,
served as a radio guy.
I said you're at the Convention Center, Grey Cup headquarters. It's the McLaren Custom Grills Radio Row. That's where you're joining us from, right?
Yeah, there's a ton of people here. Like, honestly, they've got the festival here and all the activity. There are a ton of kids that are here with orange T-shirts on. And, you know, I've said before, the festival committee has done such a good job with everything they've organized here. And, like, if you come down here, like, this is a big deal. There are a lot of kids here, a lot of future fans of the Canadian Football League.
No, the pictures from there look absolutely outstanding. I imagine it's going to be hopping on a Friday night and Saturday and, of course, into Sunday. Let's focus, before we get to the Grey Cup game, Farhan. Yesterday, Rick got it out of Julio that the Lions are going to elevate Ryan Rigmaiden to GM. What do you know about this, if anything?
Well, you know, much like Julio had to say, I mean, he and I had discussed it earlier. Yeah, we expect an elevation for Ryan. Okay. Now, whether that turns into Neil McAvoy and Ryan Rigmaiden being co-GMs, or whether it results in Rigmaiden moving up to the GM chair, and maybe you see a Neil McAvoy getting into a VP of football ops type of role. Like, you know, they're going to try to find a way to navigate it, but those two men work extremely well together. It's not like Neil McAvoy's going anywhere. That's not going to happen. He's still going to be involved, and there's not going to be a demotion for Neil. So they'll work together, but I do expect a scenario where ultimately Ryan has, you know, final say of the roster next year. Now, I don't think this is done yet, but I cannot imagine, much like Julio said yesterday, that Ryan would have turned down the opportunity to interview in Edmonton without some assurances that something was coming here in BC. So at some point, I'm sure an offer is going to be made, and how the titles get divvied, all that will happen. But I do expect Ryan to be elevated in some form into a role that has more control over the roster.
So what would happen, your best guess, to Rick Campbell?
Look, it's hard to say, and in terms of leaning, you know, my mind is similar to Julio in terms of what's going to happen there. I wouldn't be shocked if there was some form of change, but I really, really don't believe that has been decided yet. And I understand what the talk around the league has been. I understand what the logical speculation is, but I spoke to Amar Doman about this last night. I've talked to Dwayne Vigneault about it as well, and I really believe that they are intentionally not going through the process or making the decision until after Grey Cup. So it just doesn't help them to do it. And I know that Amar was out of the country for 11 days before Grey Cup week began. So I'm not saying they're not listening to what's out there or what the possibilities are, but I really think they've made an effort to not make the decision now so that they can be honest and legitimate with Rick Campbell and with other people. I don't think it's going to take long once we get into next week. I don't think there'll be an announcement on Monday, because that would imply a decision's already been made, and I just don't think that's the case. You know, I know there are people out there to echo what Julio had said. I've heard the talk about Ed Hervey getting the Edmonton job and taking Rick Campbell with him. That could very well happen, but I really don't believe the Lions have made a firm decision at this time.
One more with the Lions. however the structure of the new GM or GM is, the first order of business has to be the Vernon Adams trade. And, like, if you're trading Vernon Adams right now, what are you looking for in return?
As much as you can get, but it just depends on the market. I think it starts at a first-round pick, right? And I think when the Lions made the decision on Nathan Rourke, knowing they were going to be heavily over the cap, meaning there was going to be some penalties beyond financial, they probably lose a first-round draft pick. I think part of the thinking was, we'll get one back when we trade VA. So I think there's going to be a market for him. I think Calgary is going to top that list. I think Edmonton is going to be right there. Again, depending on who the GM and the coach is there. But there's a bit of pull for Trey Ford in Edmonton. But I don't know how, if you're Edmonton, you turn down the opportunity to get VA. Saskatchewan might be a player, but I think more likely for them, Trevor Harris gets re-signed. Hamilton could be a player, but I think that Bo Levi Mitchell gets re-signed there. So in the end, I think the best offer is going to come from Calgary or Edmonton, and more likely Calgary. But I think that's the first domino to fall in the quarterback carousel for the CFL this offseason. And I believe that that'll get done, late November, early December. It'll happen quick.
All right, I wouldn't want to be at the Canucks practice today. I think the coach is pretty ticked off for very good reasons last night. That was not good in any fashion or form by the Canucks.
No, it wasn't. Now, look, I'm not going to lie. With all the Grey Cup activities here, I was hosting events. I kind of watched bits and pieces of the game, and but it certainly is part of a disturbing trend of what's happened with this team on home ice. And they're managing to find a way to get results earlier when they weren't necessarily playing as well. And now that they are playing better, we're seeing that form change on the road. We're not necessarily seeing a change at home. And, when you look at the number of goals they're giving up at home, it's absolutely alarming. So I don't know if they're getting out of their comfort zone or out of their staples and trying to do too much at home. I'm not sure what it is. Certainly their game on the road has become a much more simple. And last night there was a level of not distraction, but just, excitement around Dakota Joshua coming back, and then Lekramaki gets the goal. There's a lot of other moving parts for them that maybe is drawing a level of attention and focus, but they got to get this figured out quick. Like the fans are paying a lot of money. We are seeing empty seats at home, like it or not. If nobody wants to admit it, we are seeing it. I know that there are people in suites that got upgraded to better locations because those suites were empty. Fans are paying attention to this, and it's affecting the bottom line. So they got to get it figured out.
That blonde kid behind you is saying, "Look, it's Farhan Lalji."
Yeah,
like he's coming. He's got an autograph.
To Rick Dollywall.
Yeah. Who wins on Sunday, Farhan? Who wins?
I think it's going to be Winnipeg, and I think Toronto is better in a lot of areas, but they just aren't at quarterback. And at the end of it, I think that will eventually rule the day. I don't think anybody in Vancouver wants to see it. I was thinking back to many younger years for me, because I've got to make a speech on Sunday, and one of the things that I remember was BC beating Winnipeg in the '83 Western Final and the '85 Western Final, and who in BC wants to see Winnipeg win, especially at BC Place? Does anyone want that?
No. But it's your favorite team, so you got to be happy this weekend.
Well, Zach Caleros is one of my favorite quarterbacks.
Oh, what a shock. What a shock.
Adam Big Hill is one of my favorite people.
Oh, what a shock. What a shock.
Come on, you like Biggie. Admit it. But I can't say the same for the rest of it. But I like Zach. I like Biggie. Yeah. I'll give you that. And Biggie's not playing. So, we're only halfway there.
Yeah. There you go. Okay, Fran, we can go.
Can you get downtown and hang out this weekend?
Only if I see Moj in the background in the next 10 seconds.
I'll talk to Lisa. I'll get you a pass.
Yeah.
But come on, join us.
My weekends are smart.
I knew Rick was going to blow off my party on Wednesday.
Yeah.
We knew that was going to happen. But I expected better of you.
Okay. All right. Do we have to go into and this isn't why I didn't show up. And same with these guys. But do I have to get into the history of this show and TSN? Come on.
Oh, yeah.
We can't. We couldn't show up. There's no way.
Yeah.
It's not a TSN event. It was.
It was all your TSN buddies. It's all your TSN buddies.
Was it you that hosted it?
Yeah, it was myself and Dave Naylor and the Grey Cup committee. It was
TSN guys. TSN guys.
I came to your other party. Talk to Henderson. I came to your other party though. You know that. Talk to Henderson and Dollywall.
All right, we'll do. Henderson, Dollywall, both of you are lame.
I'm old. It was a Wednesday. I can't. 20 years ago, I'd have been there.
I got a kid. I can't make it.
I'm getting old. I'm getting old.
Farhan, we got to let you go. Have a great time down there. Next party you have, I'm there.
All right.
Okay, thanks.